What does the search for companionship, a life seen through the eyes of an extraordinary human being, the loss of innocence, and a star desperately trying to shine bright once again all have in common? 16 Oscar wins in between them, and 4 films I just recently checked out as part of my AFI's Greatest Films Challenge. Let's get into it. Released in 1950, this film took home 3 Academy Awards, and it is number 12 on the 1998 list and number 16 on the 2008 revised list. The film I'm talking about is, of course, Billy Wilder's Sunset Boulevard. Now, I had never seen Sunset Boulevard before. I came into this totally fresh. I knew about the line in it that everyone's heard, "All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up." So I went into this just fresh eyes. I didn't want to know any spoilers on this. So you really won't get any spoilers on this series. I'm going to try to avoid doing that. So in a nutshell, this film is about a down-on-his-luck screenwriter played by William Holden, who he's on the run from, I guess, debt collectors, and he winds up at Norma Desmond's mansion. He has a flat tire, and he winds up at her mansion. And seeing as an opportunity to make some quick money, Norma is a forgotten film star from the silent era, and she's wanting to make a comeback. So, Joe, who was William Holden, that's his character, Joe, he sees this as an opportunity to make some quick money. And he says, "All right, I'll write a screenplay for you so you can make it back into Hollywood." And from that point on, we see the descent into madness that Gloria Swanson, who is Norma Desmond in the film, her descent into madness, how she starts to think that she is going to be this star again, and it's just not in the cards. And I'm not going to spoil the ending for it, but I do want to say the likes I have in this, the writing is spectacular. It's Billy Wilder. Wilder knows how to write. I absolutely love that dialogue that they have. The performances from William Holden and Gloria Swanson and Eric von Stroheim, who plays Max the butler, and there's much more to him than what you see on the surface. I thought those 3 just gave the greatest performances of that film. I know there was a supporting actress who got an Oscar nomination, but she really didn't do anything, and it didn't, not to me, not in my opinion. The dislike that I have through this, if you know anything about me, anything about the stuff I put out, I'm a story guy. If your story doesn't sell me, if it doesn't hook me, I'm going to lose interest. And there was a piece of the story that I just didn't buy. I found it unbelievable, and I was like, no, this doesn't work. But overall, I thought this was an amazing film. I give it 5 stars on my Letterboxd. I do go into depth and detail on my Letterboxd account, so you can find it on the link tree here. But on a side note, after a screening of this film, Louis B. Mayer, who used to run MGM Studios, he walked up, or he made an announcement, I guess directed at Billy Wilder. And I'm reading off notes. He says, "You have disgraced the industry that made and fed you. You should be tarred and feathered and run out of Hollywood." Now, Billy Wilder, once he heard this, he walked straight up to Louis B. Mayer and said, "Go fuck yourself." Mic drop. Billy didn't give a shit. Billy was gangster. That's why I love Billy Wilder. But back to the film itself. This is an absolute classic noir film. It's really great, and I suggest you check it out. Okay, the second film I decided to check out. It was a repeated view for me because I've seen this movie before. I went to the theaters to watch this when it was first released. It's number 71 on the 1998 list and number 76 on the revised list. It was nominated for 13 Academy Awards, and it took home 6 that night, including ones for Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Actor, Best Director, and Best Picture. And of course, I'm talking about 1994's Forrest Gump. Now, I remember going to watch Forrest Gump in the theater, and I thought it was pretty good. I had a good time watching it. And then, as years gone by, I've seen it once every 4 or 5 years. And it just kept getting, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And then it kind of fell off. So checking out this 4K version, the 30th anniversary, excuse me, I said to myself, this is actually a pretty decent film. I mean, it's really good. It's hard for me to kind of break down the story of Forrest Gump without actually giving away spoilers. So the best way I could probably put it is a man with a low IQ has accomplished, amazing things. And he's retelling his life story to a group of strangers he meets as he's waiting for a bus who's taking him to a destination, which we find out, throughout the course of the film where that bus is going to take him. And just the amazing life that he has led. I'm not going to get into spoilers because, there may be somebody out there who hasn't seen Forrest Gump. So I want to keep everything from them. That way they're not spoiled, hence the spoilers. But let me talk about some of the things that I liked about this film. First and foremost, Tom Hanks, Robin Wright as Forrest and Jenny. They are so amazing together when they're on screen at the same time. It's great cinema. The supporting characters in this, Gary Sinise plays Lieutenant Dan. He gave a great performance. I had never heard of Gary Sinise before this film, and then I found out he's a pretty damn good actor. Michael T. Williamson, who plays Bubba, Forrest's I guess army buddy. Michael T., he's only on screen maybe 10, 15 minutes, but he is the catalyst that sets up Forrest going forward in what he's going to do. I thought he did a great job. There are certain scenes where Forrest gets extremely violent when he's defending Jenny in certain situations. And it's funny. I see it. And I'm like, yeah, I would do that. I could absolutely see myself doing that. He just gets just punching people and stuff like that who he believes has slighted or wronged Jenny in that circumstance. The overall story I thought was pretty good. The dialogue is pretty damn good, to be honest. I like the story. I like the dialogue more than I do the story, which is kind of weird because, Forrest attends the University of Alabama and I attended the University of Alabama. And we have that kind of kinship. Another bright spot for me in this film, and I can't stress this enough, is the score and the music that they use throughout the film. I don't know how Bob Zemeckis and Paramount decided how much they had to give to acquire the rights to use this music in the film, but it absolutely is crucial to how the film plays out. And when you get this, if you do pick up the 4K, they do give you the soundtrack. you know, with all of these songs that are included in the film. And it's just so, it's great. There's one scene where their force is flying into Vietnam, and they play that Creedence Clearwater Revival song, and you know, as soon as you hear that, that song has been used in like so many other commercials, just because of that one scene alone in Forrest Gump. I mean, it kind of sets that song up for future uses in other types of films and TVs and commercials and stuff like that. Those are my positives. I really only have one dislike in this, and it's Sally Field, and it's not her. It's, you know, it's not her personally. It's like her role. I mean, they really didn't need to cast her as, you know, Forrest's mother. I mean, you could have cast somebody else in that role. I mean, she's really not in it that much. I mean, you just could cast somebody else in that role, saved you some money, but she did all right. I mean, you could have used that money for something else. It's another dislike that I have, and it's only because it's recency. It's recency bias, and it's the visual effects. I mean, back then, when you see it on the big screen or you were watching it on VHS, you know, when some of the visual effects that they used in that were, oh my God, I mean, this is great. But as time goes on and you watch those visual effects, it's kind of cringeworthy. Like, that doesn't hold up. But again, it's, you know, it's of its time. So overall, I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was really good, but it's not great. Okay, so for the third film I decided to check out on my list is a film that might as well just be a first time watch, because I'd only seen it one time, and I saw it 25 years ago when the AFI first released their list. So it's number 83 on that list and number 86 on the revised list. It was nominated for 7 Academy Awards, and it took home 4 of them. 1 for editing, 1 for sound, 1 for director, and 1 for best picture. I'm talking about Platoon from 1986. When Platoon was released on video, I had no interest in watching it when I was a kid. I didn't want to watch it. My brother, on the other hand, that was his genre. I mean, he loved military movies. He loved war movies. So he saw it and he liked it. But I wasn't going to watch it. So fast forward to 1998, you know, the AFI include this film on their list. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll give it a chance. So I sat down, I rented it and sat down and watched it. And I'm like, okay, this is good. And then I just filed it away. Excuse me. So, you know, 25 years later, I decided to do this on my channel. And I'm like, okay, well, all right, I'll check it out again. And then when I put it in and sat down and watched it, and after watching it, I'm like, wow, this is really an amazing film. To kind of give you, you know, the Cliff's Notes version of what, you know, the plot is, because I don't want to give out spoilers. What you're seeing a soldier's experience in Vietnam, that soldier being played by Charlie Sheen. You're seeing his vision of, you know, what he's viewing in Vietnam, while at the same time his platoon leaders, his platoon sergeant and squad leader, they're like arguing over the morality in the platoon and of the war itself, whether or not the war is a just war or not. Now, Charlie Sheen he's the main character in this, and he plays Private Taylor, and you're witnessing all of this through his eyes. The staff sergeant is played by Tom Berenger, who was nominated for an Academy Award, and the squad leader, which is played by Willem Dafoe, who also was nominated for an Academy Award in this. Both Berenger and Dafoe give, you know, their nominated performances are just, I mean, they deserve those Academy Award nominations. I believe Berenger's performance was a little bit better than Dafoe's, but that's just my opinion. Also in this cast, you have a young Johnny Depp, a young Forrest Whitaker, Tony Todd. We all love Tony Todd. Keith David, John C. McGinley, who we all know from Office Space and Scrubs, and he was also in Wall Street. Now, getting into the likes on this, I absolutely love Tom Berenger and Willem Dafoe. Anytime that either one of those two are on the screen, they command your attention. And I just love watching Tom Berenger. He just has this uncontrolled rage throughout the entire film. And you're just, when he looks at you, he's got that hypnotic look. And he just sucks you in. It's a damn shame, he didn't win an Academy Award for this. Another big thing about this film is the battle sequences that happen throughout the film. There are quite a bit of them. There's quite a bit of battle sequences on here, and they're all amazingly choreographed. Just great. I absolutely like that. I hadn't seen a picture like this before because it really wasn't my genre, but after watching this, I'm like, all right, that's not bad. Another one of the highlights for me is, I really hate saying this highlight, but it's like you see the psychological toll that this war has taken on its participants, with the exception of Sergeant Barnes, and he has his little group that I don't want to call them sycophants, but he has his little group, and Elias has his, and you start to see like the toll it takes on them throughout their time there. But I would absolutely be remiss if I didn't bring up the score, in particular one piece, the Adagio for Strings by Samuel Barber. That is an absolutely haunting piece, and it suits this film so well. I was listening to it the other day, and I will never think of another film again when I hear that piece of music by Samuel Barber. I will always think of Platoon. The dialogue and the overall story are great. Oliver Stone is a gifted writer. Let's make no mistake about that. It's very well done. It's very well made. If I had to choose any dislike, and I know I'm kind of nitpicking here, but if I had to pick a dislike, it would be Charlie Sheen, and it's not because of his acting. This is probably some of the best acting he's ever done. This and maybe Wall Street, and my personal favorite, Major League. But he does some narration in this film, and it's like listening to his dad, Martin Sheen, narrating in Apocalypse Now. It's almost listening to Martin Sheen. I'm like, it's just change it up, mix it up. But I know Charlie can't help it. It's the way he talks. But yeah, that's the only really criticism that I have on this. I know a lot of people didn't like the way that some of the African Americans in the platoons were portrayed, and there is a scene in the film that is eerily reminiscent of the My Lai massacre. You certainly understand why soldiers in the Vietnam War did the things that they did. You understand why they did it. It doesn't mean you condone it, especially me. I don't condone what they did, but I certainly understand why they did it. But overall, I gave this film 5 stars. It is one of the best depictions of the Vietnam War that I've ever seen on screen. Now, as of today, who knows, I might watch, Apocalypse Now and think Apocalypse Now is better than Platoon. Again, these are all my opinions. And we've come to the final film for this week's AFI Challenge. This is a film that I have seen before, and it was the very first one that I wanted to check out when the AFI initially released their list in '98. It is number 36 on that list from '98 and number 43 on the revised list. It was nominated for 6 Academy Awards, It took home 3 for Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Director, and Best Picture. This film has the honor, I guess, as being the only X-rated film to be nominated and to win an Academy Award, and that film is Midnight Cowboy, 1969. Midnight Cowboy is an amazing film. I thought that the first time I saw it, and I still believe that even after all of these viewings, even as most recent as a week and a half ago. This is an amazing film. I know I keep using amazing, but I don't know any other word to describe it. In a nutshell, what we have here is an unlikely friendship between Joe Buck, played by Jon Voight in an Oscar-nominated role, who is a self-proclaimed ladies' man who decides to leave his home in Texas and move to the Big Apple with the hopes of becoming a hustler or male prostitute. And the con man, if you want to call him that, a handicapped, slovenly man by the name of Enrico Ratso Rizzo, played by Dustin Hoffman in an Academy Award nominated role. And this friendship that these two have, which will have tragic results in the end. I can't, go on any further without, giving spoilers. So again, I'm just going to give you some of my likes and dislikes. One of the things that I did like about this movie, I did like the director, John Schlesinger, actually filming in New York City and not, on a stage or on a back lot, where most of these scenes are shot. The scene with everybody knows the most famous line in the movie is the line where Dustin Hoffman is walking across the street and a taxi cab comes up and almost hits him, and he smacks it and says, "Hey, I'm walking here. I'm walking." It's been parodied in so many movies afterwards. That was shot in New York City, right there. Most of those people, I believe, in the action scenes, I think those are more actors and actresses. It was all choreographed. Another one of my likes about this is the Nilsson song, Everybody's Talking, which is played at the very beginning of the film. It is an iconic song. It is a classic song, and it is great. Another one is John Barry's score, and particularly his theme to Midnight Cowboy is just the harmonica, and it plays throughout the entire film. The overall story that Schlesinger is trying to tell the audience, people like to deride this film. Especially, there's one actor in particular who's on record as saying, the acting performances are great, and then he uses a derogatory term about the rest of it. And I'm not going to reveal that actor's name. If you want to look it up, you can. A lot of people think that, this film was rated X because of, it's pornography. Well, it's not. It's not pornography. I believe there was one scene in the film that actually got it the X rating, and they kind of trimmed it out, and it was fine. There are, the story that, Schlesinger's trying to tell us is that it's not physical love that, these characters share between one another. It's platonic love. It's the search for companionship. Joe is constantly searching for that companion. And Enrico is also searching for a companion. Neither one of them want to be alone. Joe's more likely, he doesn't want to be alone, because there are instances in the film where he actually has an opportunity to escape and get away, but he doesn't. He comes right back to Rizzo. It is a beautiful story. Beautiful story. Waldo Salt, his screenplay is just magnificent. There are some funny scenes in this. This is a drama film, but there are some funny scenes in this. Well, they're in their apartment, and I use that term very loosely. The power's shut off, and it's getting close to wintertime, and you see them just like dancing around, and both of them are like dancing, and it's so funny and hysterical. They're dancing, and they're trying to keep themselves warm. And there's a fantasy scene. See, Schlesinger tries to balance the film, and he gives us shots of either it's a flashback, it's a fantasy, or it's reality, and he blends all three so great and so expertly that it conveys the story in a much better way. It tells the story in a much better way. There is a scene where Rizzo, his main goal is to get to Florida, and there's a scene in Florida where you know it's a fantasy scene where Joe is being doted on by all kinds of women, and Rizzo, even though this is his goal, he wants to go to Florida, but he can't stop being on the job. And being on the job is he's trying to scam people out of their money. And there's a scene where the camera pans away from Joe and goes to Rizzo. And Rizzo is on the ground shooting dice with old ladies and taking their money. It is just classic. It's hilarious. Now, I do have one dislike of the film. I do not like, there's a party that Joe and Rizzo attend. It's an Andy Warhol-esque party scene. I did not like that. It's just psychedelic. I don't like that kind of stuff. It's just it took me away from the film itself. But I guess it was needed. I didn't feel that it was needed, but yeah, it was overall, it was great. This is an absolutely amazing film. There again, I said it, amazing again. 5 stars on Letterboxd. If I could give it 10 stars, I would give it 10 stars. And there you have it. 4 films down, 119 to go. Just to recap, Sunset Boulevard, which I gave 5 stars to. Forrest Gump, 4 stars. Platoon, 5 stars. And Midnight Cowboy, 5 stars. But if I could give it 10 stars, I would give it 10 stars. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Let me know, have you seen any of these films and what did you think of them? Also, don't forget, head on over to my Instagram page. That's where you will be kept informed of what I'm going to be watching next week. So until next time, what are you going to watch today?